Alright. Shalom, shalom, shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakah Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim out there, spreading this truth like wildfire in all truthfulness and in all sincerity, and shalom to the rest of the hopeful elect out there. Alright. So I was watching this Dabu 7 article, video, and basically they're gonna do a black start grid down exercise that will begin at 4 a.m. on July 26, 2023. The event is scheduled to last at least 8 hours. Soldiers, civilians, and contractors will work together to conduct this event. Top U.S. Army will oversee this exercise. This will affect local traffic lights, traffic flow, and other problems. On top of this, we have planned rolling blackouts across different areas in different areas across the country. One of these is in Pennsylvania, where residents are being told they need to shut off appliances or face higher bills. And someone mentioned in the comment section, this is like Event 201 where they practiced demic procedures before the demic. And it very well could be, or it could also go live. But we know these devils are planning a lights out type event because it's too many giveaways, and also a lights out event for this place is in the scriptures, because this place, which is America, is known as Babylon the Great in the scriptures, and it's also spiritual Sodom and Egypt. Matter of fact, let me get that first. Revelation 11 and 8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. So this place, and the dead bodies of who? The dead bodies of who? Verse 3, and I will give power unto my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,203 days, clothed in sackcloth. And these 2 witnesses represent the southern and northern kingdom. Verse 4, these are the 2 olive trees and the 2 candlesticks standing before the God of the earth. And if any man will hurt them. Verse 5, fire proceedeth out of their mouth and devoureth their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed. Because we put hell on these other nations. Verse 6, these have power to shut heaven, They reign not in the days of their prophecy, and have power over waters to turn them to blood, and smite the earth with all plagues as often as they will. Speaking of the prophets that came out of the both kingdoms, such as Moses and Elijah. Verse 7, and when they shall, but it's speaking of the two kingdoms of Israel, though, the southern and northern kingdom. Verse 7, and when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascended out of the bottomless pit, that's Esau's Roman Empire, modern day Roman Empire, the revived one, shall make war against them and shall overcome them and kill them. Yeah, in verse 8, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city. This place is likened unto a great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. This place is called Sodom because it promotes homosexuality. It promotes who Elder Apostle Tahar calls the happy people, because GAY means happy. It promotes them. And Egypt were also our Lord was crucified, because spiritually, well, symbolically, all that, it's like Yahushua is being crucified over and over again in this place. Over and over again. His values, what he stands for, his image. They put up a false image of a so-called white man instead, with blonde hair and blue eyes and long hair. Totally opposite to what the scriptures say the Lord looked like and how his people look like, who are the tribe of Judah. It is evident that the Lord sprang out of Judah, right? And they are black unto the ground. But anyways, yeah, man. And also Egypt, because the Israelites are in slavery here, as well as because they're in captivity, slave to the Rothschilds. And also we're in captivity, I should say, because I'm obviously an Israelite. I can get this truth, catching hell, only Israelite is going to be able to get this truth to the fullest and be able to break it down too. But let me bring out how, hey, this place got to pay for all that. And just as ancient Egypt was plagued, modern day Sodom and Egypt, spiritual Sodom and Egypt, is going to get plagued as before. 2nd Ezra 15 and 11. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. There you go. as with plagues as before. What was one of the plagues that Egypt was struck with? Let's go. Let's go to it. Exodus 10, verse 21. And Yahweh said unto Moses, stretch out. And the Most High Power Yahweh said unto Moses, stretch out thine hand toward heaven, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness which may be felt. And Moses stretched forth his hand toward heaven, and there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days. Verse 23, they saw not one another, neither rose any from his place for 3 days, but all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings. And this time, you 2/3 are going to be judged, though, because y'all are joined unto this place. So you 2/3 are going to be judged as well, as with Esau and the heathens. That's why the time that's coming is called Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. It's written in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 30. And these are the words that Yahweh spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah. For thus saith Yahweh, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Verse 6, ask ye now, and see whether a man doeth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turning to paleness, meaning they're sick with fear. Verse 7, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Who shall be saved out of it? The elect. Because 2/3 are going to be cut off, as is written in Zechariah chapter 13, verse 8. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith Yahweh, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. But anyways, it's also written that the day of the Lord is going to be darkness and not light. Amos 5 and 18. Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord, the day of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai. So what end is it for you? The day of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, is darkness and not light. Which this means, doesn't just mean that, but it does mean that at the same time. Verse 19, as if a man did flee from a lion, and a bear met him, or went into the house and leaned his hand on the wall, and the serpent bit him. You're not going to be able to escape Jacob's trouble. That's the meaning of that verse. If you are the 2/3, you're not going to be able to escape it. It's like running from a lion and you meet a bear, or you went into the house and you lean your hand on a wall and a snake bit you. Basically unescapable. Shall not the day of Lord Yahweh be darkness and not light, even very dark, and no brightness in it? Yeah, shall be darkness and not light, even very dark, no brightness in it. Yeah, the day of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, aka Jacob's trouble, trouble all the way to when the nukes hit is gonna be ain't gonna be no joke. And you're gonna have these different plagues hitting, like the plague of darkness. There's gonna be other plagues too, but you're gonna have the plague of darkness hitting because Egypt is getting plagued as before. And in Wisdom of Solomon chapter 17, select it for that. In Wisdom of Solomon chapter 17, it describes what happened. For greater thy judgments, they cannot be expressed, therefore unnurtured souls have erred. That's verse 1. Verse 2, for when unrighteous men thought to oppress the holy nation, they being shut up in their houses, the prisoners of darkness, and fettered with the bonds of long night, lay there exiled from the eternal providence. Verse 3, for that while they were supposed to lie hid in their secret sins, they were scattered under a dark veil of forgetfulness, being horribly astonished and troubled with strange apparitions. So while that plague of darkness was hitting, they were being troubled with strange apparitions. Verse 4, for neither might the corner that held them keep them from fear, but noises as of waters falling down sounded about them, and sad visions appeared unto them with heavy countenances. So basically, it was like a scene out of a horror movie. Basically. And those Egyptians, they couldn't escape it. Verse 5, no power of the fire might give them light, neither could the bright flames of the stars endure to lighten that horrible night. Verse 6, only there appeared unto them a fire kindled of itself, very, very dreadful. For being much terrified, they thought the things which they saw to be worse than the sight that they saw not. So basically, they're being plagued with apparitions while that darkness, the plague of darkness was upon them. And Yahweh Shemi Al Shai did say that Egypt is going to get plagued as before. And this is spiritual Sodom and Egypt. So when you connect the dots, you can see that plague, along with other plagues, is coming to Babylon the Great, aka spiritual Sodom and Egypt, during the time known as Jacob's trouble, because 2/3 are going to get it too. So yeah, y'all about to catch straight hell, man. And there's a video somewhere where they said that were some, well, they were, it was some experts. They were saying that they were that if a power the power grid was to fail, like due to an EMP or a hack or whatever, if it was to fail and be down for about a period of 9 months, that 90% of the population would die. That means only 10% would survive. And hey, Esau, he loves to bring about order ab chaos, so he may bring that. We're not ignorant of Satan's devices. We're not ignorant of. Yeah, we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. Let me get that. 2 Corinthians chapter 2 verse 11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. And also, let me get Wisdom of Solomon. I think it's in Ecclesiasticus. It's in Sirach. Chapter 5 verse 15. Be not ignorant of anything in a great matter or a small. And this devil's about ordo ab chaos. So I would not put it past him to do something like that. And plus, what I brought out already about that plague of darkness that hit Egypt and how Egypt is going to get plagued again. And this place is spiritual Sodom in Egypt. Yeah, But there's something else I gotta bring out. Hold on. Iran moves towards possible atom bomb test in defiance of Western sanctions, Intel report. A Dutch report says Iran continues to increase enriched uranium stocks. Iran is making progress on nuclear facility deep underground. A fresh batch of damning European intelligence reports reveals that the Islamic Republic of Iran sought to bypass U.S. and EU sanctions with secure technology for its nuclear weapons program with a view towards testing an atomic bomb. According to the Middle East Media Research Institute, MEMRI, which first published translations of the intelligence documents on the site, security agents in Sweden, the Netherlands, and Germany revealed sensitive data during the first 6 months of 2023 on the Iranian regime's illicit nuclear weapons proliferation activities. The reports mainly cover Iran's alleged illegal conduct in 2022. The most shocking revelation in the trove of intelligence data was from the Netherlands General and Intelligence Security Service, AVID, that determined Iran's astonishingly fast development of weapons-grade uranium, quote-unquote, brings the option of a possible Iranian first nuclear test closer. Fox News Digital reached out to Avid for comment. Last year, Iran proceeded with its nuclear program, quote-unquote, the Dutch report noted. The country continues to increase stocks of 20% and 60% enriched uranium. By means of centrifuges, this can be used for further enrichment of the 90% enriched uranium needed for a nuclear weapon. According to the intelligence report, Iran is further ignoring the agreements that were made within the framework of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action (JCPOA), and by deploying increasingly more sophisticated uranium enrichment centrifuges, is enlarging its enrichment capacity. The U.S. and other world powers reached an agreement, JCPOA, with Iran in 2015 to provide Tehran with over 100 billion sanctions relief in exchange for temporary restrictions on Tehran's alleged atomic weapons program. The Trump administration withdrew from the JCPOA in 2018 because, according to President Trump, the deal did not stop Iran's rulers from attempting to build nuclear weapons, and it posed an end to state-sponsored terrorist activities, which, this is coming from Esau, which has, which these devils are not innocent when it comes to promoting terrorism, because, they the ones that founded Al Qaeda, which is means the base. They the ones that set up Osama bin Laden. They the ones that, and then the Israelis, which, that's basically, they get called the 51st state of the U.S. for a reason. They, the 48ers in our land, they help fund it. They help fund ISIS, They help back up ISIS. So, for them to be pointing a finger at Iran, is very hypocritical, but this is what Esau does, and this is why the whole world is sick of them. The Biden administration is reportedly seeking to replicate a mini version of the JCPOA. The reality is that Iran is not in any way backed off from its efforts to build nuclear weapons, has taken every opportunity to advance its technological capabilities to its end, and has for years misled the international community and lied about its intentions, while at the same time widely publicize its goal to legitimately attain nuclear threshold status, and continues doing so to this day. Yet, Savion, which he sound like a 48er. Wouldn't be surprised if he is one. Director of Memories, Iran Project role. And the 48ers, they have their own nuclear program, which they won't admit that they have. Let me see who's... Sounds like one of them. European intelligence. And them 48ers, if this is true, then them 48ers, they're about to make their move, which is gonna end up, even if it's not true, because they, the U.S. and the West and the state of Israel, the so-called state of Israel, they have a history of saying shit like that, like they did about Iraq. So we can't trust them. But at the same time, prophecy's prophecy, right? And all these nations, they're going to shoot at the whore, you know? Which is Babylon. And also the 48ers in our land, they have made themselves a target, you know, with their policies. So they've pissed off Ishmael, who was a wild man. Ishmael's a wild man. They pissed off Ishmael. And the Carmenians, they're the Iranians. So there's two sides to this. And the Carmenians and the Dragons of Arabia, Ishmael, they're going to link up. They're going to link up. And they're going to come against these modern day Assyrians, which is modern day Assyrians is these Edomites, especially these Western Edomites, especially Babylon. And everybody knows who runs Babylon. These 48ers do. So let me get that real quick. The least of the flock. Jeremiah 50, verse 45. Therefore hear ye the counsel of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, that he hath taken against Babylon, and his purposes that he hath proposed against the land of the Chaldeans, the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely ye shall make their habitations desolate with them. Verse 46, at the noise of the taking of Babylon, the earth is moved, and the cry is heard among the nations. And also this, Jeremiah 49 and 20, therefore hear the counsel of Yahweh, that he hath taken against Edom, and his purposes that he hath proposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. Verse 21, the earth is moved at the noise of their fall, at the cry and the noise thereof was heard in the Red Sea. So the least of the flock, these Amalekites, they're going to draw in the rest of Esau. They're going to draw in these NATO countries and Babylon, which is the U.S. They're going to draw them in. Just to get destroyed along with them. Because, you know, Russia's going to get involved. I will stir up the Medes. The Russians are the modern day Medes. But hold on, I will stir up the Medes. Let me get that. Isaiah 13:17, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Verse 18, the bow shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. Verse 19, in Babylon the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency shall be as been when the Most High power Yahweh overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. Verse 20, it shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. Telling you that it's not ancient Babylon that it was talking about, because you still have that going on today in ancient Babylon. You have a village called Babil there. There's still people living there. The Arabians still pitch their tent there. People still go through that land. They still dwell there in Babylon. And it was not destroyed like Sodom and Gomorrah either. The Medes entered and took over. That's what happened. The ancient Medes did that. But it was not destroyed like Sodom and Gomorrah, fire and brimstone. Which is going to happen. It's going to happen to the daughter of Babylon, which is America. That's what it's going to happen to. It's a future prophecy. Verse 21, but wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. Verse 22, and the wild beasts of the island shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces, and her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. Yep. And also let me get Second Esdras chapter 15 verse verse 28. Behold, a horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east. Verse 29, when the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried out as the wind upon earth, that they which hear them may fear and tremble. Verse 30, also the Carmanians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. Verse 31, then the dragons shall have their upper hand, remembering their nature, and if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them. What's gonna happen? And it's gonna lead to World War III. That third woe that cometh soon. And these shall be troubled and keep silence through their power, and shall flee. Verse 33, and from the land of the Assyrians shall the enemy behold them, besiege them, and consume some of them, and their host shall be feared, and dread and strife among their kings. Verse 34, behold clouds from the east. Yeah, strife between the NATO and Babylon. Because the beast is going to hate the whore. The beast is NATO. and the EU. And the whore is America, Babylon. From the land of the Assyrians shall the enemy behold and consume some of them, and in their host shall be fear and dread and strife among their kings. Verse verse 34, behold, clouds from the east and from the north unto the south, they are very horrible to look upon, full of wrath and storm. Verse 35, they shall smite one upon another, and they shall smite down a multitude of stars upon the earth, even unto their own star, and blood shall be from the sword into the belly. And that's talking about missiles, man. Verse 26, and dug a man to the camel's hope, a lot of it. And there shall be great fearfulness and trembling upon earth. They that see the wrath shall be afraid, and trembling shall come upon them. Verse 38, and then shall there come great storms from the south and from the north, and another from the west. And strong winds shall arise from the east, and shall open it. And the cloud which he raised up in wrath, and the stars stirred to cause fear towards the east and west, wind shall be destroyed. The great and mighty clouds shall be lifted up full of wrath, and the star, that they may make all of the earth afraid. Hold on. Verse 40, the great and mighty clouds shall be lifted up full of wrath, and the star, that they may make all the earth afraid, and them that dwell therein, and they shall pour out over every high and eminent place a horrible star. It's talking about nukes. Fire and hail. Verse 41, fire and hail, and fleeing swords, and many waters, that all fields may be full, and all rivers with the abundance of great waters. And it's talking about not a little storm. You could, as you should be able to tell, it's symbolic. It's talking about World War III. Verse 42, and they shall break down the cities and walls, mountains and hills, trees of the wood, and grass of the meadows, and their corn. Verse 43, and they shall go steadfastly unto Babylon, and make her afraid. And they shall come to her, verse 44, and besiege her, the star, and all wrath shall they pour out upon her. Then shall the dust and smoke go up into the heaven, and all all they that be about her shall bewail her. So this is talking about World War III, and that's what that's gonna lead to. And let me get. Oh yeah, Ezekiel 38, because who's gonna be a defense on the Persia? And the word of Yahweh came unto me, of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai came unto me, saying, that's verse 1. Verse 2, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him. Verse 3, and say, Thus saith Yahweh power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. Verse 4, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I'll bring thee forth. Back into that Soviet mindset. And I'll bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Verse 5, Persia and Ethiopia and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Verse 6, Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. Verse 7, Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company, so that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So what do you think is going to happen when the 48ers strike Iran and the U.S. gets involved? War with Russia. So World War III. And in the valley of Yehoshaphat, which is the so-called Middle East. Joel 3 and 9, Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Verse 10, Beat your plowshares and your swords, and your pruning hooks and the spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Verse 11, Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen. Gather yourselves together round about, thither cause thy mighty ones to come down. O Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Verse 12, Let the heathen be wakened and come to the valley of Yehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Verse 13, Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for the wickedness is great. Verse 14, multitudes in the valley of decision. For the day of Yahweh is near in the valley of decision, of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And that's the valley of Yehoshaphat, the Lord's judgment. Valley of Yahweh's judgment. I'll also gather all nations and bring them down to the valley of Yehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people, for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. This is payback for what they did to us, man. And what's going to end up happening is verse 19, Egypt shall be a desolation. This is modern day Egypt. Well, this is spiritual Sodom and Egypt. There you go. And Edom shall be a desolate wilderness. This could be considered the land of Edom, since Edom has it in possession. And Edom shall be a desolate wilderness for the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood in their land. But this war gotta happen for the kingdom to come too. Verse 15, the sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. What's gonna happen from the nukes dropping? Verse 16, Yahweh by Shemi Shai also shall roar out of Zion, and utter his voice from Jerusalem, which is a people before us a place. And the heavens and the earth shall shake, but the Most High power Yahweh will be the hope of his people, and Yahweh Shemi Shai will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. Verse 17, so ye shall know that I am Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, your power. Dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain, then shall Jerusalem be holy, and there shall no strangers pass through her any more. Verse 18, it shall come to pass in that day that the mountains shall drop down new wine, and the hills shall overflow with milk, and all the rivers of Judah shall flow with waters, and the fountain shall come forth from the house of Yahweh Shimi Shai, and shall water the valley of Shittim. Yeah. And also what's going to come out of this is verse 20. But Judah shall dwell forever in Jerusalem from generation to generation. Verse 21, for I will cleanse their blood that I have not cleansed, for Yahweh Shimi Shai dwelt in Zion. And like I said, a people before it's a place. But we're going to be returned back to that land after that war happens. That's when the true Israelites are going to return. But, which is the so-called, what the me. But, which is the so-called black people, Latinos, and Native Americans. Even when I put this shit on Do Not Disturb, man. Which is primarily so-called black people, Latinos, and Native Americans. Stop this shit. Damn. Do Not Disturb doesn't work for shit. But, anyways, yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up. Shalom, stay strong. Abba Babo. Abba, that's Babylon. Abba la Gawayim. Abba la Adawayim, death to these other nations. Abba la Gawayim, death to the. Well, Abba la Adawayim means death to these Edomites. Abba la Gawayim, death to these other nations. Abba la Ayab Yamnawa, death to the rest of our enemies. Death to our enemies, the rest of them being 2/3 of you so-called black people, Latinos, and Native Americans, you Hebrew Israelites, and as well as of you speckled birds, Israelite foreigners, scattered among the other nations. And hey, it is gonna happen. Shalom stays and scattered among the other nations, and it is gonna happen. Shalom, stay strong, and Yasharallah forever. Shalom.